One of the largest political parties in South Africa, the Economic Freedom Fighters, is led by a man by the name of Julius Malema. Malema calls for, quote, cutting the throat of whiteness. He has openly said that he might, in the future, call for the extermination of all white people in South Africa. Some people aren't waiting. Every year there are gruesome murders on South African rural farms. There are roads like that of crosses of South African white farmers that are murdered by black radicals. Gangs will break into homes and torture to death everyone who lives there. Men, women, and children. These aren't home robberies. This is racial terrorism against white people. We've seen this pattern play out in other parts of Africa. Zimbabwe, otherwise known as Rhodesia, had very much the same. When Mugabe took power in Zimbabwe, there was a small white minority that ruled the country. They gave up power, but precisely because they were so economically successful, they were hated. The dictatorship, again, run by Robert Mugabe, a terrorist and a communist, interestingly enough, supported by the Soviet Union, terrorized white farmers and seized their lands without paying for them and drove them out. Now Zimbabwe can't feed itself, and Rhodesia went from the gem of Africa to the laughingstock of Africa. All of this is just us focusing on the worst violence imaginable. South Africa already has DEI, affirmative action, disparate impact on steroids, just as a matter of its operating procedure. The South African Boers are, in fact, the ideal immigrants for any country, including America. So President Trump has now granted refugee asylum status for white South African farmers. These are the type of refugees we want in our country. They face systemic legal discrimination in South Africa. They face horrifying violence based on the color of their skin. A political party in their homeland openly calls for their genocide. But then on top of that, they're also desirable immigrants in their own right. They have useful skills. They're very close to America culturally. And they're basically the ideal immigrants. If we were to open immigrants, these are the people we want. And of course, that's exactly why the left despises them so much. Look on screen. All of them are flying American flags. I don't see Ilhan Omar or the Mohammedans coming here doing that. You see, they want people with no skills. They want people who want American welfare. They want people who are culturally alien. They want people who will commit crimes against Americans. And of course, they've been looking forward to the genocide of white people in South Africa. They've wanted that for years. They were waiting and waiting for it to happen so they could swoop in, nod their heads and say, well, this is what happens when you oppress people. This is the natural outcome of apartheid. These South African refugees are more than welcome in America, but not if you are the American left. Yesterday, the Episcopalian Church, I put in quotes, announced that they will no longer do any refugee resettlement with the United States government in protest over this. They would rather have no immigrants than take the risk that a white person in danger might benefit from it. Basically, if you are a leftist, if you are white, there is no way you could ever suffer. You can't be a refugee. Only black, Hispanic, Muslim, brown people can be refugees.